What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we have a very special review for you. We have the brand new 2025 Harley-Davidson Low Rider ST. This is a motorcycle that I actually just picked up a few days ago, and as you guys are going to see in this video, there's some things that I absolutely love about this bike and some things that we actually just had to change almost immediately. So this is the motorcycle right behind us. We got it in the amazing gray. It's been really popular. So we're going to go through the engine, the suspension, the electronics, the ride, all of the standard stuff that we do in motorcycle reviews. And at the very end of the video, I'm going to talk about who this motorcycle is for, as well as mention some of the things that I really feel like Harley-Davidson could have improved on. So we're going to dive into all of that and more. Let's do this. All right, guys, well, here is the motorcycle. Like I mentioned, this is the brand new Harley-Davidson 2025 Low Rider ST. In this model, Harley-Davidson did some much needed upgrades to the bike. And for those of you guys that have been following the channel for a while, you know that I have actually taken a little bit of a break from Harley-Davidson motorcycles for probably about the last 3 to 4 years. I've been kind of dabbling in a few different motorcycles, but primarily BMW. And this bike is the first bike that I felt like was actually something that Harley-Davidson put out that I was interested again. I just felt like it was worth it to come join the brand again. I've always loved Harley-Davidson. For those of you guys that have followed along for this channel for a while, you know that Harley-Davidson is kind of where we started in this motorcycle journey. So it definitely feels good to be back on the bike. But yeah, one of the main things that we're going to start off with is we have the brand new Harley-Davidson 117 high output Milwaukee-Eight engine. And I'll tell you guys that this bike is an absolute rocket. So it puts out about 124 horsepower with around 132 foot-pounds of torque. I'll put the actual specs here in the video. And really what I'll say is this bike, like a lot of Harley-Davidsons, is going to make its torque really early on in your RPM. So I think it's going to make peak torque and peak horsepower around 3,200 RPMs, which is really nice because you get a lot of that like low-end grunt that Harley-Davidson is known for. But the one thing I will say is that if you are cruising down highway speeds on this motorcycle and say you're at around 2,500 RPMs and you go to roll on the throttle and really pass somebody, you are definitely going to want to downshift and get your RPMs a little higher for this motorcycle to wake up. That is one thing that I have noticed on this bike. So just something to keep in mind. While the bike is a ton of fun, it absolutely rips. It's honestly some of the most fun that I've had on any Harley-Davidson motorcycle. This really is an amazing engine, especially given the fact that there are some other bagger motorcycles that have this 117 high output engine, but they are going to be significantly heavier than the Low Rider ST. So this motorcycle coming in at around 700 pounds with the monoshock rear suspension, which we're going to get into the suspension in a little bit, you really feel like this motorcycle is alive, and that's really what it's for. This isn't necessarily a full-blown bagger motorcycle. It's not necessarily for cruising. I would say this motorcycle is for somebody who primarily wants to do some fun canyon ripping, windy roads, has a little bit of cruising on the weekends. It could kind of do everything. Sure, you could take this motorcycle cross-country if you wanted to, but really I feel like where this bike comes alive is going to be some of that, well, what I think the performance bagger segment of motorcycles is trying to get into. So yeah. Okay, well, next we're going to dive into the suspension of this motorcycle. And as you can see on all of the Low Rider STs, you're going to get this inverted forks here. And that is going to be just a really stiff, firm suspension setup towards the back of the motorcycle underneath this amazing Lepera seat, which we're going to talk about in a minute. You have the monoshock rear suspension. This bike, I mean, the best way I can put it is it's not as plush, again, as you're going to get on some of the bagger motorcycles from Harley-Davidson, but you are going to get something that is firm, responsive. But honestly, if you wanted to go cross-country on this bike, you certainly could. It's not so stiff that you're really going to hate to do things like that. And I think that's one of the trade-offs for me, at least, in some of these more performance bagger motorcycles is typically the more aggressive you go on your suspension, the more race-oriented, the more responsive you're going to have on your suspension. Typically, the less comfortable that motorcycle is going to be for those long-distance road trips. And I feel like this Low Rider ST really struck the balance of responsive enough to go through the canyons and do all those things, but still, I mean, you could ride 200, 300, 400 miles in a day on this bike and really not worry about it at all. Okay, well, next, now we are going to get into some of the electronics on the motorcycle. And so this is actually something that I feel like Harley-Davidson did a really good job at updating this year. So in the 2025 year model, they're going to have completely new hand controls. And so we're going to spin the camera around and actually show you guys what that looks like. So you are going to have all new hand control setup here and here. You're going to have your turn signal on the right here, turn signal on the left. And as you guys have probably spotted it, you are going to have different ride modes. So this is something that Harley-Davidson is starting to introduce in a lot of their different motorcycles, but you're going to have a sport, you're going to have a road mode, you're going to have a rain mode. And for me in this motorcycle, I felt like the bike really does come alive in that sport mode, and I just end up leaving it in sport mode most of the time. If I'm going to do anything like long distance or highways, I'll put it in road mode, but really I've not found a use for rain mode. The bike just feels really sluggish in that mode, and I get it, but we are here in beautiful Southern California and it doesn't rain that much, so I doubt we will be using the rain mode all that often, but for the most part I keep it in sport mode. And so this bike also is going to come with a lot of Harley-Davidson's new tech with their traction control, the lean angle control, and all of that stuff. I'll put a list of all those things, but the bike does come fully loaded with some technology, which is nice. You're going to have a pretty basic menu setting here, and then you're going to have your standard Harley-Davidson cruise control with your light switches out here in the back. So pretty intuitive controls. If you've ridden Harley-Davidson, especially any of their newer motorcycles for a while, you're going to naturally get this. I'll say if you're coming from different motorcycles like Ducati or BMW or Triumph, it is going to take a little bit of getting used to. So just something to be aware of. It's Harley-Davidson has done a good job with their hand controls, but I'll say they're not the most intuitive in the world. So if you're a Harley rider and you're just jumping from one Harley to the next, this will not be a problem. However, if you are coming from different motorcycles, I would take the time to really learn about these hand controls, where they're situated. And one of the things that I've noticed is, at least for myself, this horn is actually like, if you're riding right here to reach the turn signal, no big deal. To reach the horn, you kind of have to slide your hand a little bit to hit the horn. And it's, I mean, when you want to hit the horn, you want to be able to do it quick. I wish Harley-Davidson had made this horn a little bit closer, maybe somewhere up here would have been nice, but it is a little bit of a reach. For something over here, like on the ride modes that you really don't change that often, it's not as big of a deal to have to shift your hand from here to here. But for the horn, that's a little bit of a zonk for me. I wish they would have made it somewhere a little bit easier, but there you go. So on this motorcycle, you're going to have actually a huge improvement. So one of the things that I read a lot of people just really didn't like about the past Low Rider ST, so specifically the 23 and the 24, was the ST specifically came with a digital gauge that would have been right here at the top of your top clamp. There were some really big readability issues, and so definitely happy to see Harley going the analog route with this. And even with my higher riser setup, which we're going to get to in just a minute, I don't feel like the gauge really gets in the way of my view. And honestly, it's just there. It's really easy to read at a quick glance. Although there have been some people online that have said they're having a little bit of electrical issues in this dash with it kind of coming off and on. Have not experienced that, but if we do, I'll be sure to let you guys know. But yeah, that's pretty much the electronics on this motorcycle. So
Hey guys, editing Josh here for just a quick second. So one of the key things that I forgot to mention when I was out riding the 2025 Harley-Davidson Low Rider ST, and one of the main differences on the electronics this year is actually going to be that they included LED headlights as well as tail lights this year. So that's going to be one of the huge differences. And as somebody who didn't own the 23 or 24, but is just stepping into the 25, didn't really think as much of it, but from what you guys have said online, that is a huge deal, and honestly one less thing that I feel like a lot of Harley riders are going to have to customize after the fact, so that is a big win. And then also, while we're at it, talking about some of the main differences, one of the huge differences is going to be that this year on the 25 model, Harley Davidson made a 2-into-1 exhaust, and so what that is going to do, just from a stylistic standpoint, it looks a lot better, even though I ended up doing the S&S slip-on. What it does is it allows for completely symmetrical saddlebags, which I know for a lot of people didn't really like the fact that one saddlebag was significantly larger than the other one. So now in the 2025 model years, you're going to have both of your saddlebags that are going to be completely the same, and that is thanks to the 2-into-1 setup. So thank you guys for the little interjection. Back to the video.
Now, guys, we got to get into the ergonomics of this bike. And this, I feel like, is one of the things that Harley-Davidson really just did kind of a horrible job at this motorcycle, in my opinion. It's one of the things that I knew basically from the get-go that I was going to have to upgrade and really dial in specifically for myself, which I guess is not uncommon with a lot of Harley-Davidson motorcycles. But on the Low Rider ST, this was one of the worst that I have ever seen. One of the things that I noticed immediately was that based on my height, so I'm 5'10", have a 30-inch inseam, that basically I was leaning forward really significantly on this motorcycle the entire time. And for this bike, which is technically categorized as a cruiser motorcycle, honestly, the ergonomics on this weren't comfortable. So not only was I leaning forward, but with the mid controls on this bike, I feel like my legs were pretty hiked up. And so I know for a lot of people, they'll do forward controls on this motorcycle to kind of counteract that. But I feel like the real solution would have been for Harley-Davidson to simply include some higher risers on this bike. Because honestly, I feel like the ideal person to sit comfortably on this motorcycle in the way that Harley-Davidson has designed it would have had to have been over 6 foot tall. And at that point, you're really a little bit big for the Low Rider ST, in my opinion. So we're going to flip the camera around here and I'm going to show you guys what I have done to this bike. And again, this is just for me, but we went with the 9.5-inch Thrashin risers on this, kept actually the stock handlebars, and then put the Lapera kick flip seat on here. And what this does for me is it allows here, I'll even get on the motorcycle for a second and show you guys. Okay, guys, so as you can see, so this is the Thrashin 9.5-inch riser with the Lapera kickflip seat. And as you can see here, I mean, this is a much more natural riding position. So you can see my shoulders here, or my arms are pretty much perpendicular with my shoulders. My back is in a really good kind of straight up position. And this for me, with even, I'll put like my foot on the pegs here, you can see that it's a much more natural rider's position here. This is something that I wish Harley-Davidson would have done from the factory and really set you up with a really comfortable cruiser. But for me, this is pretty much dialed in from an ergonomic standpoint. I feel like I can go on longer rides. So yeah, I'm pretty much, I think, going to end up doing a little bit of a taller windshield. That's going to help to push some of the air directly over my helmet. But for the most part, I think that is what it took to dial in this motorcycle. But honestly, I mean, the bars aren't cheap. Doing a bar job on motorcycles these days is going to be a pretty penny. Special shout out to the guys over at Real Power Movement in Riverside, California for hooking me up and doing all the work on this bike. But yeah, I kind of wish that Harley-Davidson would have just come with an option that is more set up like this stock for the motorcycle. All right, guys, so kind of wrapping everything up, this motorcycle, it really is amazing. So going over some quick stats that you can find on the website. So this bike is going to run you about $25,000. And if there is a knock on Harley-Davidson at all for me, it is actually the price point of a lot of these motorcycles. And Harley-Davidson is a brand that I have loved for years and years and years. It's a brand that, honestly, guys, I'll probably continue to buy. I just wish that the price was a little bit cheaper than it is. I think Harley-Davidson is pricing a lot of people out of the market. It is not a secret that Harley-Davidson has been trying more and more to appeal to a younger demographic of motorcycle riders, but they keep on raising the prices. And honestly, I mean, this is a motorcycle that is supposed to appeal to younger riders, but it's at a $25,000 price tag. And in April of 2025, there's a lot of economic uncertainty in the US right now. Borrowing rates aren't as cheap as they used to be. And so not only do you have a more expensive motorcycle at $25,000, but you have crazy financing for people. Like tier 1 rates right now at Harley-Davidson at the time of recording this is somewhere between like 7 and 8% on a $25,000 motorcycle. That really is a pretty steep payment for a lot of people, especially the younger riders who are hoping to get into Harley-Davidson. So this bike, while it is a little bit expensive, for me, this bike is for somebody who, it's probably not their first motorcycle. It's probably somebody who either already has something like a Softail or maybe a Sportster and really wants to step up into that more performance bagger world, but they're not ready to get into a road glide or a street glide. Or it's somebody who probably has a couple different motorcycles in their garage, maybe has a touring bagger, wants something that's a little bit more performance oriented. This bike is going to be perfect for somebody wanting to do maybe 200-300 miles on the weekend, but not necessarily doing long cross-country road trips. There's always going to be those exceptions. This bike can do that, but I think for that person that really wants a weekend ripping motorcycle around Southern California or wherever you're at in the country, this bike is going to be perfect for you. I'll say that for myself and kind of the season of riding this that I'm in, really, you know, I needed an around town ripper. I needed something that I could have fun with on the weekends. I still have my KTM 500 that's going to be for all of the off-road adventures that you guys have seen here on the channel. But for me, this bike is absolutely perfect. So a couple quick things that I'm going to be doing. As I mentioned, we're going to swap out the windshield for something that just pushes the air a little bit up over me. I'm going to swap out the grips on this because I've never liked Harley-Davidson grips. And I think that's pretty much it on this motorcycle for right now. We're going to keep it kind of as close to stock as possible. We do have an S&S slip-on this bike just to wake it up a little bit and be a little bit more loud, because I don't think anybody loves the stock Harley-Davidson sound coming out of their exhaust. But yeah, that is the 2025 Harley-Davidson Low Rider ST review. Hey, I'm curious to hear what your guys' thoughts are on this motorcycle. Do you like it? Do you hate it? What are some things that you wish Harley-Davidson would have improved on this? Would love to know down in the comment section. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you have liked it, as always, please hit the subscribe button. Give the channel a like. That means more than you know. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this video. Till we meet again. Peace.